All right, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum, shalom. Welcome, 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 everyone. And we are live, we are direct. And today we're continuing with our book study, The Fall of America. We are on chapter 5, Under the Shadow of Death. And I have my awesome host with me, my co-host with me, Maya. Peace and blessings, Queen.
Peace
I'm
and
glad
blessings.
that you're here. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Glad to
Oh,
be here.
definitely, definitely. All right, so we are on chapter 5.
Before we do that, let me just go online right quick and unlock my phone so I
Okay.
can see where we are. All right. So with that being said, here we go. I'm always excited. Like I'll be like, oh my God, it'll be 10 o'clock. I'm like, I need it to be 6. Like it's a countdown for me. I get so excited, and then like when we get finished, I watch the video again. I
Mm,
wake up and I watch it a second or third time, and
mm,
it's an amazing journey. This is an amazing experience, and I'm just very happy that we decided to do it, because not only am I learning a lot, I'm actually having a lot of fun. So
mm.
thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity.
No problem, no problem. I thank you. I definitely thank you.
All right, so chapter 5, Under the Shadow of Death. We, the Black lost found of our people here in America, live under the shadow of death by way of cowardly enemies. Every one of us, the cowardly enemies, seek our deaths one way or another. The cowardly enemies will not fight you as a brave man would fight you if they think that you would fight back. They will steal on you when you least expect an attack from them. We live under the shadow of death. We fled from the cowardly enemy devils of the South, seeking refuge in the same cowardly enemy's brothers in the North. The enemy devils of the South followed us to the North to see that his brother of the North does not treat us any better than they did in the South. They seek police jobs so that they can beat and kill us who are trying to escape. They seek to kill us or get us killed at any price. They don't care about our loyalty to them. In their hearts, there is death for us, the Black man in America. Today, they hold out promises to you only to deceive you. They know that Allah is here offering to seat us in heaven at once. And since hell is their appointed place, they are trying to get us to go to hell with them on false promises. I've told you, believe it or leave it or let it alone. We live under the shadow of death.
Mm.
Your comments?
Wow. That's very true. In the beginning of it, where he was talking about that you'll run from the enemy devil that's in the south, and he will follow you to see how the his brother will treat you in the north, and that the brother from the south will join the police departments and things like that. It's very interesting. Because nowhere where we can run to or go to here in America that you won't find an enemy waiting for us once we get there. And when you began reading, I thought about what we talked about the day prior, where you was telling me about at one point down here in the South, the poor whites and blacks were working together, and then the other whites came, and I believe these were from the north that had came. And when they came, they bring their KKK stuff and all of this, and make divisions between the groups that were actually working together in a cooperative manner, and then split them up. And then next thing you know, we was on the dining room table for food. And that has not changed. Even to this very day, that has not changed. We live under the shadow of death, no matter whether it's coming from the police department, no matter whether it's coming from the medical industry, no matter it coming from whichever facet. We live under the shadow of death. No matter whether who you got over the FDA, they still feeding you food that's not real. And the only way that you're really going to change any of this is that we have to have our own. We have to be able to build our own, and we have to be able to protect what we build. You know, I was thinking today about cancer medication while I was at work, and I'm looking at this, and I'm you're not supposed to hold it in your hand, but I was holding it in my hand. But I'm looking at this little pill, this little capsule that is dangerous because it causes all type of harm to your body. But they have to feed you this little small capsule to fight a disease that's within inside your body. Whereas if you fed the people right, if you took the pollutants out of the water, out of the air, gave them real food, this little capsule would not be necessary. This dangerous capsule that somebody's going to swallow would not even be necessary. But in order for them to make money, they make that capsule necessary. Everywhere we go, we're surrounded by death. And
Every.
many of our people don't even realize it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a very real situation. And as the messenger said, believe it or let it alone. We
Mm-hmm.
live under the shadow of death.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And considering the fact the time period in which he said it,
Mm-hmm.
death was death was a real phenomenon for so many people, just for whatever reason. At any given moment, you could find your son or daughter hanging from a tree. At any given moment, your house could have been bombed. It just pick a struggle. It was there.
Mm-hmm.
And even sitting in church or sitting in a school or just driving down the street. And we even, have to deal with these horrors today.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it then and we're still seeing it now. That
It's,
shadow of death it has become a part of our reality.
mm-hmm.
And I think that we're just coping because
Mm-hmm.
like now that we're reading this book, I'm not fearful of anything because if I was fearful, I would stay in the house and I wouldn't go anywhere. But it's like when I'm sitting in my car, I'm I get this feeling like somebody's going to shoot me in my head.
Mm.
I really do because I don't research at the surface level. Whenever I research, I synthesize information and I find out things that I've never known before. And our story is very horrific. The things that they've done to us, it is extremely horrific. That's why they cannot be human beings. Because at some point, a real human being would have sympathy and say enough is enough, but they don't. Like they so depraved that there's like they will do anything. And
Mm.
the more stories I hear about, read about, videos I watch,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like, am I next?
Right.
Because I'm reading this book,
Mm. Mm-mm.
but I don't
Right.
let fear take hold of me. It's just, it's a feeling that does come over me a lot, even more so now that I'm reading this book.
Mm.
It does. I'm not going to stop, but
Right.
I do feel it. So,
Right. Now,
yeah.
let me just ask you about that. All of us know you're a woman. How does that make you feel if you, when you're driving and you're feeling like that? How does that make you feel on the inside?
Numb.
Mm.
I just feel numb.
Mm.
Because I don't have the word. I don't even have words to describe really how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
because they watch us everywhere we go. They know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
They know your channel.
Mm-hmm.
They know what we're discussing, and they don't like it. And if it really was an effective message to reach a lot of people, they'll
Mm-hmm.
put a stop to this immediately.
Right.
So, we become targets. And
Mm.
so I'm just numb because,
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not excluded,
Exactly.
but this is a walk I'm prepared to walk, and I'm not going to change my mind about what has been revealed to me.
Mm-hmm.
It just really shows it really confirms who they are.
Exactly.
And like Huey P. Newton said, revolutionaries, one of the primary things of being a revolutionary is understanding that you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Death
Mm-hmm.
is inevitable as a revolutionary. It's just part of the struggle.
Exactly. Exactly.
But I sleep good. I do not toss and turn. If I hear a noise, I get up and I go see what the hell is going on.
Mm.
I don't get up under the sheets and close the door, lock the door, and shiver. I get up and see what the hell is going on in my house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Mm-mm-mm.
So we're on chapter 5. No, I'm sorry. Now we're actually on chapter 6, babies murdered.
Mm. Okay.
Today, you read and hear that white America is agreeing to kill unborn babies. They have set up a law for it. This is the worst sin that you could agree on, to have your baby killed before its birth. What are you going to do that for? He tried to put out an old, unfounded story that you are getting to be too many people and we have to cut the birth rate. Who needs to cut the birth rate? Black people have no need to cut down. They need to increase the birth rate. The earth and the heavens around the earth are ours. Who's going to go hungry? Do you not read the past histories of how the righteous were always the winners and the victorious people? So will we be the winners and the victorious people. We are not thinking of anyone making us hungry unless it is Allah, and he came to feed us, as it is written, my righteous servant shall eat, but ye shall go hungry. In America, hunger is starting at you now. Unemployment, you cannot buy the food that you used to buy, for you have nothing to buy it with. And this is why I plead with you to come join up with me and let us go to the earth and grow our food, not go walking around the city with a basket for the devil to drop food into. He will not help you, for he will not have any food to drop into his own basket. He has not he has not only food stored up, but he has clothes stored up. He has plenty of this. But that does not mean that he cannot come to hunger and nakedness if Allah strikes at him. Allah brings the wicked into desolation before they can get started to strike back. Murder the black babies. The only ones he should be thinning out is himself. The earth belongs to black people. What do we look like cutting down on our birth rate? Is there any narrowing of the earth for us? The earth is being expanded for us. There is plenty of earth for us. For Allah will clear the earth of its wicked population. All of those places will be taken by Muslims. My God, to pay attention to the white man and let him slaughter the babies before and after their birth. This will be like what the fire worshippers did who worshiped the fire god Molech. They took their babies and threw them into the fire to be burned up, to show their sincerity to the God of fire. And are you going to the enemy of the black man to have him deprive you of giving birth to a black baby, to let him kill it in your worship of him? Do not you think that you are acting like a mighty big fool? I think that you are. This is our earth. Have they squeezed it up so that there is no place to live except they kill off Black people? No. Black brothers and Black sisters, I hope that you will read this and understand that we, the Black people, are the true owners, and Allah is giving our earth back to us. This is what he means as well as the spiritual religion of us when he says, accept your own. This is our earth. He is telling you to accept it. He will give it to you. The Bible teaches that the meek shall inherit the earth. The humble, poor people, they will get the earth, for it belongs to them.
Mm.
We have parables in the Bible, which the writers of the history of Jesus tell us were spoken by Jesus. The parable of the lost sheep and the prodigal son. They returned and became the owners. This only means you and me. Why do not we take our place? Why should we give our babies to the enemy to be destroyed? Because he says you have nothing to feed them with. Follow me and I'll show you. You will get more houses than you need and more money than you can spend. Help
Mm.
me, brothers, and Allah will not deprive you of your good reward. I know you understand. What we do for Allah, He will do it for us. In this day and time, we are all tried. The wicked and the righteous are both tried. When sin has the poor Black baby, I'm sorry, what sin has the poor Black baby done for you to murder it in your womb? He has done nothing. It will come back to you in a terrifying way. Your conscience will condemn you for doing such. All of our evil will come before us in a palpitating form. Let us not be such fools as to think that we have to east east. He said, let us not be such fools as to think that we have to east our babies. I don't know what that means because that's what I see. What do you see on your you see the same
Yeah,
thing,
I
right?
see the same thing. East.
We
Hmm.
have to east our babies into the arms of a murderer to murder them for the excuse that he needs to do so in order to feed and house you. No place is crowded but the cities. There is plenty of room in the country. The Black man has never had a problem. Look at China and India. They do not destroy their babies just because they do not have money. They try to have means to take care of them. China takes care of her population. India does not take care of hers because she depends on Britain and other white people. We must remember that the white race has no part, no share in our earth. They only had time to live on our earth. They did not have a share of actual earth itself. So let us not kill our Black people for just the asking of a murderer who was made to murder us. I warn you, do not think hard of him for doing what he was made for, but I do fault you for following him in what he has in following him in what he was made for.
Mm. Mm-mm. Wow. That very powerful. It truly is a blessing for us to be able to read this and see what it is that's going on, because what he talked about there, and I'm quite sure when the book was written, and some people probably read it and was like, oh, that's never going to happen. There's never going to be a time where white folks or Asians or any other people besides Black people will ever be on the planet. That will never change. That was probably some people's thinking. But we're in this modern time, and we can see the writing on the wall that's being fulfilled in our lifetime with these people at zero birth rate. And it's not just white folks, it's the Asians, it's all of them except for us, except for Black people. Every other people are in a negative position when it talks about reproducing their kind. And so when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that the earth belongs to us and it's coming back into our control, that's a reality. That is a reality. And it's a beautiful reality because you're watching it if you're awakened and understanding. And and I talk about this all the time with whites, Asians coming to get the IVF treatment, black women coming in and getting the depot shot. You don't have no whites, you don't have no Asians coming to get depot. Only people you have coming to get depot is nothing but black women. All the rest, they coming up to get IVF treatment. And so the course of time that they're being cut off, and it ain't cut off because it's something that we've done to cut them off. This has come from the God on high that has come to cut them off. But our women are still producing at good rates, at very good rates. We have to stop this mad rush for abortion and mad rush for depot shots because you want to party and have a good time, but you don't want no responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want the responsibility. And, I believe somewhere, and I don't know exactly where, but somewhere in our journey, I believe probably around the time in the 80s where they were having latchkey children. And somewhere during that time period, the idea, the understanding of making a family and moving together got lost or got totally destroyed because we were at a point where we were producing families and moving on, and then we got into this big situation where man is gone, mama's by herself trying to move and trying to make things happen. Nobody's there to be parenting children. So now the children got to take the key, let themselves in, do this, do that, and take care of themselves till mama gets home. Mm-hmm. We lost that family ethic somewhere in there. And we have to get it back because these abortions, and now I will always say this too, because I don't believe that the abortion rate in the Black community is as high as they say it is. I don't believe that it's that high. I really don't. We know for a fact that there was a such thing as mass sterilization. We know for a fact that they were sterilizing Black women, and the Black women wasn't being told, we're going to sterilize you. Mm-hmm. And so these things that were going on to stop us from being able to reproduce. Now, white folks always knew that they only had a short time and then they will be removed from the planet. They always knew that. That's why they move in such a manner where they have to accomplish all of their objectives in a short amount of time because they know their time is not like ours. We have forever, and they don't. And they don't. And the current demographics definitely show that their time is up.
So you said that they've always known that their time was short. Mm-hmm. Like where in history, can you explain that a little bit further and maybe give some examples of like when they got the memo? Because I've never heard that before. So like when did they make this discovery and under what circumstances?
Right. So, and I get that from the teaching of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, where he was teaching about the making of the white of the white devils. And their maker, Yakub, knew that they only had a short time. And so they went to work to get busy doing what it is that they had to do, because they knew that it was just for a short time. And that they also knew that their authority was limited. That's why it says in the Quran where God is talking to the devil, and the devil says to him, "Respite me till the day they are raised." And so God said to the devil, "Well, you are of the respited ones. So you got your respite to do all the evil that it is that you're going to do. But that day, that time when that comes, your work is over." And you see that with how things go with their societies. If you track their coming up and mingling amongst us and then getting into their own, they move very, very quickly. They don't stop and slow down. Let's think about this. Even if you just take a look at the way they took over this land that is called the United States now, they knew that it was their divine destiny to go out and take this whole area, take this whole country. It was their divine destiny. And they knew that they only had a certain amount of time, because all of the founding fathers were high degree Shriners. So they knew what the Quran said, and they knew what their nature was. So doing with that manifest destiny, that it is their destiny to conquer, it is their destiny to control, it is their destiny to kill. They wasn't taking it slow, because they knew they only had a short amount of time to do what needed to be done, and that their thievery couldn't live on forever. They understood this. They knew this when they, especially when they got into the science of just the melanin factor, where their genes is recessive and ours are dominant, and that there's no way you can get the dominant out of the recessive. So when they understood that you can't get the dominant out of the recessive, then understanding that we are the dominant and they are the recessive. And that's why when the KK say, when you mix a black one and a white one and you create this mongrel race that will wipe us out. And they understood, because their genes are recessive and our genes are dominant. So once that ungodly union mixed, then the darker gene, the stronger gene, the dominant gene will take over that recessive gene, and that there will not be a pure white race at all. And they understood that, and they knew that, hell, since we're on a limited amount of time, then we have to kill as much as them as we can, because they're going to be the ones that's going to last.
And also to promote this homosexual agenda as well.
Oh, yes.
Because one thing, like many years ago, the spirit, my spirit works with me in crazy ways. It tells me things when I least expect it. But my spirit told me years ago, they hate Black women. They know that we are the mothers of the earth. We are the creators. And so whatever they can do to stop our progress and to cause us to hate ourselves and to fight with our men and to kill our babies, and to live in a state of depravity, they will do it, because they literally hate Black women. And there was something else that I thought of when I read this chapter earlier today about Black babies being killed. When people try to come against me because I tell them, if they ask if I'm a Christian and I say no, people get upset about that, which I do not care. Think about in the Old Testament with the 10 plagues. The 10th plagues was the killing of Black babies. So you have Christians who, you got the Old Testament, the New Testament in the Bible, And you have a story of the so-called Israelites, God being, favoring them.
Mm-hmm.
And since the Pharaoh is not allegedly letting them out of Egypt, the very last plague is to kill the firstborn sons.
That's right.
And then the Bible goes on to say that God told the Israelites, now watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, even though we know that the Jews of today are not the people, they're not the real people in the book. They're just
Right.
not. Okay,
Mm.
we already know that they're Europeans.
Right.
But let's say hypothetically that they were. Let's say hypothetically that the Europeans are the actual Israelites of the Bible. And God favors them to the extent where he kills the firstborn sons of Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then God says, okay, I'm going to protect you. You go ahead and put some blood over the doorpost because when my spirit passes by, you'll be spared.
Mm-hmm.
So, what holiday do they celebrate the death, murder of firstborn black babies? Do you know what holiday that is? It's celebrated every year. I
Easter.
gave you a clue. No, I gave you a clue. He
Uh,
told them to put the blood on the door. So when his spirit passes over, they would be spared.
Passover.
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 Passover ain't nothing but an annual celebration to commemorate the death of black babies.
Damn.
And
Wow.
that is why they don't have a problem killing our black men like dogs, because it is a
Mm.
part of their historical tradition.
Mm. Mm.
Another reason why black people need to put that goddamn Bible down.
Mm.
Because those were black babies being slaughtered. And when you look at it, if they were white, you mean to tell me God is in favor of white people killing black babies?
Mm.
I'm just
Wow.
saying.
Wow.
Because isn't that their goal to still kill black babies?
Mm-hmm.
That killing black babies is not a new concept. It's very ancient.
Mm. 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 Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So you ready for 7 or you wanted to throw in some more?
I'm still I'm still working on that Passover. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's an annual celebration to commemorate the death of black babies.
Mm. Mm.
I don't deal with, you know, that alone, considering the fact that we know that those people in the ancient world, they were dark-skinned people. And when you look at the majority of women in the Bible, they're being stoned to death, raped, abandoned, lied to, blood bleeding every damn well.
Mm.
Your children, like that, I don't have time for it. I don't. I take it for what it's worth, but I also go deeper to
Mm-hmm.
find the hidden meanings of what is being presented to me. Because that revelation came to me a few years ago and it blew my mind.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
And I've never in my life heard anybody else bring that to anybody's attention. I was the first person to, get that revelation so far as I am aware of. And it blew my mind.
Mm. Yeah, because it blew mine. Because I'm sitting here like, what? Because I'd never heard that before. Wow.
And when you go back, like from an archaeological, anthropological perspective, when you study um under the master teachers who are experts at Kemetic history, it never happened, right?
Right.
Literally, it never happened. But
Right.
we do understand that the concept of killing black people is a reality.
Right. Mm.
We can't deny that. And they think that they have favor to do it.
Mm.
Even with the historical picture of manifest destiny, I That one day we'll get into that. We should pull that up.
Mm.
Have you seen the picture, right?
The movie?
No, have you seen the historical photo of Manifest Destiny?
No. Mm.
Okay, you would never?
I don't
Oh my
believe.
gosh, you are in for a real treat. Okay, so let's do this. So I'm gonna let you do it. So
Okay.
you go into Google and I want you to type in Manifest Destiny, and I'm gonna show you something that I do when I help people to understand what's going on. You
Okay.
probably have seen this, you just don't know that you've seen it. Type in Manifest Destiny and click images
Okay.
and try to get the picture as big as you possibly can. Go ahead and take the first one. Take the first one.
This one?
Yeah, take the first one. You've never seen that picture?
Yeah, I've seen this. But
Okay,
I
now
didn't know it had something to do with manifest destiny, though.
this is the picture of Manifest Destiny. It was painted, I think, in the 1700s. Now, do me a favor. Are you able to go and just make that your whole screen? Or that's
Uh,
the biggest that you can get it? Can you? How big can you get it? Can you? Because I need all of it. You leaving some of it out.
okay.
You can't make your screen no bigger.
Let me see.
Okay, leave it right. That's fine. A little bit bigger, a little to 90 bit.
Let's see if I can.
Click on that. All right there. Now, okay, so if you were to section this off into 4 sections, right? Straight
Okay.
down the middle and then
hmm
horizontally and vertically. I
hmm
want you to look all the way to look at the right side where you see the sun.
Okay.
You see the sun, right?
Right.
What does the sun represent?
It's the starting of a new day, the sun rising.
Knowledge,
Okay.
information. Okay, when we're talking in terms of symbology.
Okay.
Okay, so the sun that represents light, and look at all the light on the right side of the photo.
hmm
That's knowledge. Okay,
Okay.
now you see the ships in the background, right?
Right.
Because they came to America on what?
On ships.
On ships.
hmm
Now you see the angel in the middle. How do
Right.
we know that she's an angel?
Because she's white and white robes and she's in the air like she's flying.
Exactly. And what does she have in her hand?
Uh, look like it says school book.
Exactly. It's a book. She has a book of information, knowledge, right? And
hmm
she's facing what direction?
She's facing the west.
Right. She's coming from the east with the information
hmm
headed towards the
West.
west, right? Because
Right.
when they came to America, they landed on the east coast.
Right.
And they
Mhm.
believe that they have the rights of ownership from the east to the west, from the Gulf to the Canadian goddamn border and
Mhm.
beyond the whole damn continent. They believe that God gave them the right to own all of it. So
Mhm.
as she's coming, she's leaving the east, headed out west. You see the darkness on the other side,
Mhm.
and who do you see under the darkness?
The Indians.
Exactly, because they were here first. And
Mhm.
so as she's headed west, she's moving them out further and further.
Mm.
You see that?
Exactly.
All the way in the back of her, you see Conestoga wagons, you see Native American tribes, you see wild buffalo,
Mhm.
but you also see the transportation that is coming with. Look what's in her hand.
It looked like a telephone wire.
Exactly, technology. So
Mm.
she's bringing the Western culture, Western mindset, Western information, Western knowledge is bringing in light to America, moving out the native and indigenous people so that white people can have a place in America. Look below her feet.
Mm.
Who do you see below her feet?
The white men.
White farmers.
Mhm.
taking the land as if it's taking it for themselves,
Mm-hmm.
rich, fertile for agriculture, moving out native and indigenous people, setting up their new settlements. And not only are they running off the people, they're running off the animals. So while they're running native and indigenous people away, they just walking in like no problem.
Mm,
And this is what they believe, that God gave them the right to do this.
mm,
This is
mm,
their God given right. This is
mm.
a very old picture.
Wow. Wow.
Manifest destiny. And
Mm,
people think that you have a lot of people that think that they don't teach this in public schools. It depends on who the teacher is. Because this picture is in most history books in public schools. But
mm.
a lot of people, a lot of teachers may overlook it. Parents don't, get involved in education.
Right.
And some teachers may just look at the picture and dismiss it. But this is a very, very heavy picture.
Mm-hmm. Mm, mm, mm. Wow.
And they did this from coast to coast,
Exactly.
from the Gulf, from North, Central, and South America, because they don't belong here.
Mm, mm,
There
mm,
were no white people in the Americas.
mm.
There was not one white person in the Americas. They are foreign to this land.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come with destruction, to kill, to steal, to destroy, to take without payment or permission.
Mm,
And they do it with a smile on their face because, after all, they believe in the concept of manifest destiny. God favors me, just like God favored us over the Egyptians when he killed your firstborn child, your firstborn sons.
mm,
And we
mm,
celebrate it.
mm,
And you got people talking about they damn Hebrew Israelites.
mm.
That's
Wow.
why I asked. That look, whew, I'm
Mm,
hot
mm,
now. I'm hot.
mm.
I'm over here sweating with the air conditioner on.
Mm, mm, mm. Mm, mm, mm. Wow.
So you were saying about the babies, you know, we never had a problem with our birth rates. I
Never.
looked into the historical records of my grandparents, my 4 and 5 time grandparents, and it was so funny because, like, my mom and my dad, they had no clue of how big our family is. And when I went into the historical records, my grandmothers were having 10 and 15 children easily.
Mm,
The birth rate did not stop until that Jim Crow segregation, that, like, after slavery, that's when the birth rate began to decline for us.
mm, mm, mm.
Because, under slavery, they didn't give a damn how many children we had
Right.
because it
Exactly.
was beneficial for them. They'll sell your baby just like they sell puppies.
Mm, mm, mm.
But post slavery, when we had to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps and they have all these Jim Crow segregation laws, it was rough. But now, what excuse do we have now besides fear and
Right.
ignorance?
Mm-hmm.
You ever flew over a plane and look at how much land actually is available for human habitation?
No, I never paid it no attention.
The large majority of Earth is uninhabited.
Really?
Let me tell you something. Fly over Cuba and you will shake your head.
Mm,
Cuba is huge and they live in abject poverty. They live in a type of poverty that you have literally have no idea what you're going to eat from day to day, and whatever they give you, you just eat it because you may not get anything to eat tomorrow or next week or next month. People stand in line to get rice. They stand in line to get chicken. And you could stand in line for hours and still not get anything.
Mm.
And they have the majority of the population crammed, like Elijah Muhammad said. He say no place is crowded, but the cities there is plenty of room in the country.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Cuba is big as hell,
Mm.
land abundant. You mean to tell me they can't produce an abundance of food on rich and fertile soil? If
Mm.
the problem is in our mind, Jamaica too. Fly over Jamaica and look how much land they have. It's a much smaller island, but Jamaica got land. But
Mm.
yet you have a lot of people who have nothing and they depend on grocery stores that's full of processed foods. They got some of the worst processed foods in Jamaica. Please do not believe that people in Jamaica are eating good all the time because they're not. Their food is very poor quality. Most of their food is very poor quality and processed with sugar and salt, even worse than the food that we have here in America. And yet they have an abundance of land that they're not using, producing what they need.
Mm. Wow.
These people have put us in a trap. You know the thing they have like with the animal that you tie to the chair
Mm-hmm.
and then you release the rope or break the chains and the animal still think he tied to the damn chair.
Right.
That,
Exactly.
that's us.
Mm. 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 Now, is it is and I don't know. This may sound like an ignorant question, but is it coming from a position that they're not using the land to grow their own food? Is it from a position of laziness or a position of ignorance that they're not doing it?
I would say both.
Oh, wow.
The land belongs to the people. If I live in a city and there's nothing for me, I'll put my damn boots and grab my book bag and say, babe, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rough ride and thug this shit out in the countryside. Why stay here and suffer? Let's
Mm-hmm.
just try to figure it out elsewhere because this is not working. The land belongs to the people. If people create governments, why do we sit and oblige the government and they're not taking care and providing us with the services that we need to survive?
Right.
What the fuck does it take to get some goddamn seeds and irrigation and take our ass out there in the country and produce some food?
Mm-hmm.
Why do we have our hands out?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's both.
Mm. So now Jamaica was that was, I believe, British so-called property, but they're free from the British rule. Are
Hmm.
they? But yet, are they still bowing to the Queen or King when they come, if they come?
I don't know. I really don't know that.
Mm.
I don't know. I just know it's a mess over there. And
Mm.
you wouldn't know it unless you go to see it for yourself.
Wow.
So yeah, this is the idea that, white people have to own and control everything under the sun.
Mm.
Because
Mm.
like you said, they know
Mhm.
and they just have the technology and the weapons.
Mm. Mm.
And
Mm.
we got to really work harder to outsmart these people.
Mm.
You all right back there?
Yeah, yeah.
What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Boy. Um, I had watched a clip earlier in the week from TYT, and Jank was on there, and he was talking about black babies, and he was talking about how white folks were savages and how they have the nerve to blame and say that black people are savages. And he just was going in that you took black babies and you fed them to alligators. You took black babies from their mothers and sold them like they were cattle. I mean, he was just really going in very hard, and I'm watching it, and it's just like all of these things is coming down, um, and to know and understand that we didn't do anything to deserve what we're getting.
No.
And there's another video where the minister Farrakhan, he was talking about black men died in Palermo, black men died in Europe, black men died in Germany. Anywhere that the white man went in their wars and black men went and black men died. But the nigger doesn't have a place where he can call his own. And, I think that the messenger said that, we follow the enemy and do whatever the enemy say we should do. We've been so loyal to their vision. We've been so loyal to them, and we hadn't even been loyal to ourselves. We haven't even been true to ourselves. But yet they have done us in such a way that we love their gods and we love them. And it seems to be unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
Unconditional. When we should be hating them. We shouldn't even want to look at them and nonetheless talk to them.
Have sex with them.
Exactly. Exactly. But too many of us want to be up close and next to them. Too many of us want to be their brother. And it's sickening.
Mm-hmm.
It is really sickening. And just, being able to look at this picture after you'd have broke it all down. They moved out and got done what they needed to get done. And didn't give a damn about the human costs. They didn't give a damn that they had to kill all the goddamn buffalo to starve out the goddamn Indians.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give a damn about that.
Nope.
And our people don't understand when we say they have no humanity.
None.
None.
Have you ever heard of Nathaniel? Have you ever heard of Nathaniel Bacon? Or Bacon's Rebellion?
Bacon's Rebellion, I've heard of that. Mm-hmm.
So one thing I have a library because this is just making me think, but he hated Indians.
Mm.
And his rebellion was more than people think it was about. It was deeper than that. Because remember with the Proclamation Act of 1763, when the colonies were still under the control of the British Crown, the British Parliament passed the Proclamation Act of 1763 telling white settlers stay on the east side of the Appalachian Mountains. The French and Indian War is over. Okay, the French and Indian War is over. But Great Britain went deep into debt. And the part of what George Washington went over the Appalachian Mountains to do was to ask the French to leave. Literally, go. The governor of Virginia told him, go over there and ask them to leave.
Mm.
And so he got his ass whooped. He goes back to Virginia. Word gets back to Great Britain. They send in the soldiers. They
Mm.
win. Great Britain wins the war, but with the Proclamation Act, they tell the settlers, stay on your side, because they wanted more land for farming, for agriculture. They were making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so George Washington was not successful in getting them to leave, which ushered in the French and Indian War. But after the American Revolution, there was nothing to stop the new United States from crossing the Appalachian Mountains. It's wide open territory now.
Mm.
It's wide open.
Mm.
So not only are they created committees because they knew that they were going to take the land, and having to deal with Native Americans was going to be a problem. But especially when you get down to Andrew Jackson, it was just kill them. So Nathaniel Bacon, that was his idea as well. Kill them motherfuckers. Just
Mm.
kill them. What are we talking about? Proclamation Act and just wait because we don't want to go to war. No, kill their ass. So he was upset that he was supposed to put a pause. The white settlers was supposed to put a pause on taking native land. He didn't want to hear it because
Mm.
he wanted it right here and now. But he expressed how he felt about Native Americans, and it was pure evil and pure hatred.
Mm.
And if they came to your village and they asked you for something and you told them no, they
Mm-hmm.
would kill you.
Mm.
They're even explorers. The white men that came to America who in Jamestown who were hungry and starving to death, they would go to Native American villages and raid their villages. And if they asked for food, Native Americans said no, they would literally kill them and burn down their villages.
Mm.
They are ruthless.
Mm. Mm.
There's too much blood crying out from the soil from what these people have done to us.
Mm.
And it's never going to stop.
No. No. Mm.
So, you
Mm.
ready for chapter 7?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
Chapter 7, when Abe Lincoln, J.F. Kennedy spoke out for Negroes. From the death of Abraham Lincoln to the assassination of President Kennedy, it proves that on each one of these occasions where outlaws overruled legal authority, it was in the case of presidents who opened their mouths and said something favorable for the so-called Negro. I'm not saying that this was the reason President Kennedy was assassinated, but it seems very strange that every president who says something favorable for that so-called Negro pays for it with his life. We also can substantiate this by the fact that any Negro who wants to lead the so-called Negro to a better life and towards true peace, freedom, justice, and equality, which he is entitled to enjoy, is also subjected to the same kind of assassinations or attempts at assassination. I know these to be facts. There are some who seem not to want a true freedom and who will also speak unfavorably and plan unfavorable actions against those who dare to lead a true struggle for justice and equality. The tragic death of President Kennedy should serve as a warning to all rulers and people of value that values cannot be trusted openly in the presence of thieves and robbers. There has never been a president elected to such a high office who had the heart of who had the heart of everyone for him. And never was there a king who had the people wholeheartedly with him, regardless of how good the king, the president, prime minister, or spokesman for the king or president. There may be some people who do not like the high official holding the top office of the nation. I think that they should be well protected, and all precautionary steps should be taken to ensure such persons' safety. Riding in open cars or walking openly in the public is usually a needless risk taken by anyone holding such high office, especially when they are political officials. Those spiritual teachers, such as prophets of God and messengers, their lives have not been spared in the public according to recorded history of the lives of these characters. There are both friends and enemies of public servants, and we must be aware of them. Such outlaw action permitted in America is the disgrace and shame to the government and to people who are recognized as world leaders and examples of what others should do in the way of friendship and cooperation. With the great scientific advancement that America has made, it does not seem possible in this modern time that the tragedy that took place on the 22nd of November should have happened. This is a long way from the assassination of President William McKinley. There are 62 years between the two assassinations of the presidents of the United States of America, and with such great advancement in the science of protection, these things should never have happened. Again, it shows to the world that the government of America and its people are actually given to such outlaw and violent action to take human lives at will, disregarding their own legal law against such action makes the country be classified as country or government of outlaws, where people have no safety of their lives under the law, which claims to safeguard the lives of human beings. You got it.
Mm, mm, mm. Wow, that is true. That is true. I don't know of another country that have their political leaders killed at a high rate like America does. I don't know of another country that does. And for JFK, for him to be riding around Dallas around his definite enemies, my God. And now, why they're finally coming out and saying, well, yeah, there was more than one shooter. It's like, well, damn, are y'all really that dumb that y'all had the nerve to really believe in a magic bullet? Ain't no such thing. But because the TV tell you, the government tell you, oh yeah, it was a magic bullet that, went in and did the kill shot and turned and hit this person and turned another way and came out and went back in. Get the hell out of here with that
That
fool.
is what they were saying. I never heard that before.
Oh yeah, that's what they say. It's part of the official record.
That it was a magic, they wait a minute, it
Yes,
was classified as a magic bullet.
as a magic bullet.
Oh
Yes,
my goodness.
yes, a magic bullet. And it's like, and y'all fell for that shit. Y'all went for that hook, line, and sinker, a fucking magic bullet. Magic don't exist, but you went for a magic bullet.
They blew his
They,
brains out.
they sure did. They sure did. And now they're coming out with it that they believe Israel had something to do with it, that the Mossad had their hands in it. And so, Israel has been very deadly to America. The whole Bill Clinton, when him and Monica Lewinsky came out, that was Israel behind that. That was Israel behind that. That was Israel behind the destruction of the I think it was called the U.S. Liberty that was blown up, and all those service members on the boat killed, and no American ship came to its aid. Israel.
Mm.
Israel.
World problem.
Yes.
Why
Yes.
is America so afraid of Israel?
That's a great question. I
But
mean,
aren't we more powerful than Israel? And if we are more
mhm,
powerful than Israel, why is the United States pandering to these people?
I don't even understand that because, if it's just a money issue, shit. You're in the government. Y'all may come in the government poor, but you walk out rich already. So, you should be able to stand up to them. And I don't believe it's just because if you stand up to the Jewish lobby, they're gonna call you anti-Semitic. Fuck that. Who gives really a shit about who's being called anti-Semitic? They done called, some of the quote unquote holiest people anti-Semitic. So really, the hell with that. And they're not even Semitic people. So for them to call somebody else anti-Semitic is really foolishness. But look here. Like I've said many time and time before, if I had a country I was the president of, I'd have bombed the shit out of Israel like it would no tomorrow. I can't stand their ass. And every black politician that does not vote in the favor of Israel, Israel go out into that community, find people to run against the elected official that was doing the right thing and get them out of office. So, these demons, they are not our friends at all. And we should really have no loyalty to them at all. But unfortunately, we have some old time black people who want to be loyal to them because of that damnable Christian religion.
But it can't be the money because we give them money. We
Yeah,
give them a lot of money.
we give them everything. We protect them. We give them all the weapons, this, that, and the other. We give them every fucking thing. And all we had to do was just say no, or all America had just had to do is say no, we ain't giving you shit. And they'd have been overran. They'd have been overran. But no, they got their little special treatment so they don't get treated like everybody else. They don't get treated like everybody else. But one day, hopefully, they'll fuck around and find out
But
what's
when it comes to that anti-Semitic rhetoric that they pull the anti-Semitic card, they really know they know they just use it because they know they can.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really care about it, but
No.
they know it's very powerful
Mm-hmm.
to pull that card.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Very crafty, 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 crafty people.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Liars. What is it? Just liars. Who they were a liar. The fathers was a liar. Liars from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they know how to do is lie.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what they do, and they do it masterfully. I mean, Netanyahu even said this. He said Hitler didn't want to put Jews in ovens. That's not what he wanted to do. But it was the Palestinian mufti that made Hitler put the Jews in ovens. So really, we shouldn't be mad at Hitler. We should be mad at the Palestinians because they're the ones that made Hitler put the Jews in ovens.
So do you think that's why the Jews now are so unmerciful towards the Palestinian people with what's going on now?
No, I think that they've always wanted that land. And
Mm-hmm.
now they have a president that's in office that's not going to tell them, hey, you need to slow down, you need to slow up, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. Because Trump was funded by some real rich Zionists that helped him to get into office
Mm.
financially. And, he promised them a free Israel. And
Wow.
that's why he said, hell, we'll just take over Palestine and we'll put them out and then
Mm.
rebuild it, and it'll be the Riviera over there. And they can't,
Woo.
you know. So,
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
To keep a foothold, to make sure they keep a foothold in the Middle East.
yeah, yeah,
Is it for the oil or some type of natural resources that they want to just
yeah. The Palestinian,
control?
Yeah, the Palestinian part of the land has oil in it. And
Interesting.
so if Israel can tap into that oil, then it don't need no oil from no other country because it got the oil right there that it can use, and it ain't got to be friends with nobody else to get its own things that it needs. So that's why they want the Palestinians off that land, and they want to be able to make it, quote unquote, all Israel, all Israel.
So it's not really about them securing a place of their own. It's really because they were considering, I think it was the Congo.
Mm-hmm.
Africa
Mm-hmm.
was at the top of the list, considering a new home for Jews.
Exactly.
But they tied it with biblical scripture they inserted themselves into history
Mhm.
because those people are European from Poland and Germany.
Exactly.
Like remember the lady Helen? What was her name? Helen Thomas.
Yeah, the White House correspondent.
Yeah, when they asked her, "What do
Mhm.
you think they should do?" She was like, leave, go back to Poland."
Yep. Yep.
Lost her job.
Lost her job. Sure did. Sure did. You know,
Very powerful people.
them Zionists are no good. The Zionists, they don't even give a shit about the quote unquote Jewish religion.
No, not at all.
They don't care about that. Mm-mm.
Not at all.
No. Nope. And hell, when I learned that even Hitler had some Jews in their military killing other Jews.
Mm.
So wait, if you got your own in their military killing your own, how the hell you gonna call anybody anti-Semitic? How you gonna call anybody a Jew hater? You need to shut the hell up with that. You need to shut the hell up with that. And so those demons, and they are real demons. I just think that they are more sadistic
Mm-hmm.
than the regular white folk. They are more sadistic in their manner of killing
Yes.
regular white folks. The British, they are the best white liars out of anybody. The American white man that will trick you about 80 to 90% of the time. But that British white man will trick you 100% of the time. 100% of the time. And so it's easier for me to gauge these demons by their particular behaviors and what they do and how they do it. And you'll know very well if you had a choice of which one got to go first, you know which one to get out the way first.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Elijah Muhammad said, with the great scientific advancement with the great scientific advancement that America has made, it does not seem possible in this modern time that the tragedy that took place on the 22nd of November should have happened, right?
Correct.
And he's saying to take human lives at will, disregarding their own legal law against such action, makes the country be classified as country or government of outlaws. So with all of the scientific advancement that we have, with all of the laws that we have, President Trump, 2 attempts at assassination, do you think that was real or do you think it was a stunt?
It's a good question. I think it was real to the point of somebody higher trying to make a point to him that, when you get in, if you stray too far, we will make a mark of you. We will get rid of you. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it.
Mm. So he's a puppet as well?
Oh, most definitely. Most
All of
definitely.
them are, huh? All of them.
All of them. Yeah. And, like he look, JD Vance is his vice president. Now, JD Vance, when he was doing his debates, he looks very presidential. He talks very presidential. And when they asked Trump, do you think Vance would be a good replacement for you? And he was like, no. But the
Dang.
thing is, he's your vice president, but you didn't pick him. You was told this is going to be your vice president.
Interesting.
You were told that.
Because they go head to head sometimes. I've been seeing that.
Exactly.
They don't see eye to eye. And JD
No,
Vance, he making some shit clear.
exactly.
And
Exactly.
he's not dumb because he's a congressman. What was he, a
Mhm.
house rep or a senator?
He was a senator.
He
Hmm.
ain't dumb. He look.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So
Whew.
if Trump don't do what they say, they're gonna put a bullet in his ass, and JD Vance will get in and do what need to be done. Watch and see.
When I watched Michelle and Barack Obama do that, remember when he won the election and inauguration day, they did a long walk.
Hmm.
Did they walk? Was that down Pennsylvania Avenue?
Yeah, it sure was.
I don't know why I remember that. I don't even know how I knew that it was Pennsylvania Avenue, but
Hmm.
I remember watching that moment because it was so historical. And a lot of people were crying. They were very emotional. Black women was having convulsions. I mean, it was just a hot mess.
Hmm.
And I remember him and Michelle was taking that walk. And I was very, very quiet. And the first thing that came to my mind, I said, if he does not get killed, he's one of them.
Hmm.
And I only watched to see if he would be assassinated on his inauguration day as he walked openly in public,
Hmm.
waving. And because I've never seen any president do that. Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
It was, I want to say Jimmy Carter. It was either Carter or Reagan. One of them did the walk like that. Is
So
he?
it's not a traditional thing. It's like you choose if you want to do that.
Yeah, because you remember George Bush when they were coming, he didn't get out the car, but they started throwing eggs at the limousine and they had to take off.
No, at Bush Senior,
No, at Junior.
they were throwing eggs at him.
Yes. They were
Oh
throwing eggs
Lord.
at the car and they had to take off. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw Barack and Michelle take that very long walk, I say if they don't kill him, he's one of them.
Hmm.
That was just confirmation enough for me because he was just thrust into the limelight. We didn't know who he was.
Mm-mm.
You didn't know him outside of Chicago,
Mm-mm.
you know?
Now for me, because I worked at the same nonprofit that he worked in Chicago. That was a national nonprofit, and I worked there as well as a community organizer.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the organization, he wasn't well known, So us over here, we didn't know anything about him. I was in Tennessee, didn't know anything about him. And so when he finally came on the scene, because he went to Minister Farrakhan first to talk about running for office to take I forget the name, Bobby Rush, that's his name, to challenge Bobby Rush in the House. And the minister said, well, Bobby Rush is real popular, and I really don't think that you'll be able to beat Bobby Rush. So they talked about it some more. Then he said, well, okay, well, I'll run for for the Senate. And the minister's like, that what you want to do? Go ahead, do what you got to do. Um, and he told him, well, eventually I may have to, disown you. That me and you know each other and all that. And
Hold on, wait a minute. You talking about Barack Obama and
yes,
Minister Louis Farrakhan?
yes, yes, hmm,
What? Go
yeah.
ahead and tell this story. Woo, this hot.
Yeah, and so the minister said, okay, do what you got to do.
Oh my
But you
goodness.
have to remember the people who put you there. Don't forget the black people that's going to come out and vote for you. And so if you notice when he was running and, at the debate, that Hillary Clinton came out on him and said, you got to, reject Minister Louis Farrakhan. You got to reject, you got to denounce. And, at first Barack was like, I already said I ain't got no dealings with the man. Why do I have to reject him? And she kept pushing and pushing and pushing it. And then he said, okay, I reject him. I denounce him, this, that, and the other. And, the minister ain't said nothing. But when his pastor words got lifted up, because they tried the Minister Farrakhan, but Minister Farrakhan didn't bite. So they hooked up his pastor with, goddamn America. And then, Barack Obama had to come out because Jeremiah Wright wasn't going to be quiet like the minister. He wasn't going to be quiet. He wasn't going to be silent. He was going to say what he said. Say, I meant what the fuck I said. And I already told, like he told Barack too, look, when you get up there, they're going to find the shit that I said, the stuff that I did. And if you choose to say something negative, I got to be who I got to be. And I'm going to say what I got to say back. And so, we all witnessed Jeremiah Wright firing back. Barack Obama had to come out with this big old race speech and say what he had to say to keep the white folks in line, because they knew if he didn't say what he had to say against Jeremiah Wright, then the question is going to be like, well, damn, you've been under this pastor, for all this time you've been at that church. He done honored Minister Farrakhan at that church, and you were there the whole damn time, and now you want to come out and say that, you ain't got nothing like that. So all of that, you were watching the big theater take place. And when Barack Obama, because I was in Tennessee at this time, and I had beat the city of Jackson and beat the shit out of them, literally, because they were misusing, they spent money that was supposed, when the tornado came through, and they tore all the places down where black people lived at, and lied and said that they were going to rebuild it. And they took that money and rebuilt the white areas and didn't do anything with the black areas. So I fought the city and won. And the governor himself had to come down, and I got pictures with the governor, and shake my hand. And when he shook my hand, he said to me, he said, so you're the powerful bastard that got me to come from Nashville all the way down here?
Just to say bastard?
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he said. Just to shake your hand, to put this shit to bed? Because he had to do a press conference and say all this money's coming in to the black area of Jackson and all this. And Barack Obama, their people sent me a message about joining the campaign, because at first they wasn't coming into Tennessee because they felt as though that they wasn't going to win it. So why waste time? They reached out to me to ask me to run the Tennessee operation. And it was at a good time, because I had just got fired from the nonprofit that I worked with, that Obama was at. I had just got terminated from there for being when the rich white folk call you to the table and say, we want you to do A, B, C, and D. And, I brought my sons with me because I wanted them to see what really goes on when you're dealing with quote unquote power. And they wanted me to take up their issues because they just saw me whoop them and the rest of the city. They wanted me to take up their issues to fight. And again, I had to tell them, my God didn't give me what he gave me for y'all. He gave it to me for my people. So know that I'm not going to do it. And, me and my boys walked out. But, the organization eventually fired me for telling them no. But they wanted me to run the Tennessee operation. And I was on board. I'm not gonna lie. I was on board. I told my children, they all happy. The daddy's gonna be, up there with Barack Obama, because if we didn't have to win the state of Tennessee, but we had to have good numbers. And if I could secure good numbers, then I was going to DC to be in the administration. And I was very happy. Look, I'm on my way to DC to be. And Brother Roberto, I had pulled him and said, bro, I need you to help me to make this happen. And he asked me one question. He said, do you believe that Barack Obama is going to fix the ills of Black people? And I said, no, sir, I don't. Then he said, well, why would you lead your people down that way? And that convicted me. And I was like, well, damn. So he said, well, brother, you know what you got to do. And I was like, yes, sir. So I had to tell my children, oh, the Barack Obama thing ain't going to work out, and tell them that, no, I can't do it.
Right.
Because it was something, I'm not going to lie, that, yes, I want to be able to do this, because if I can get into DC, then I can make this and this and this for my people. But the reality would have been, I'd have led our people into something that's not going to help them. So I thank my brother, even to this very day, for being able to be a real brother to me, to ask me that, and then make sure I do the right thing. And I honor friendship and brotherhood that will stand up, because, he would have came to DC with me, because he would have been on my team. And he was like, just not our way. Not under him.
It's more than that too. It's also about integrity.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that Martin Luther King Jr. did not have. I don't give a damn who feel any kind of way about it. I said what I said. Because there were so many things that he did see and decisions that he should have made.
Exactly.
But, for the sake of, I think he really wanted to be a celebrity more so than helpful to Black people. He just went along to get along, and he found himself in too deep, and it was simply too late.
Yeah. And, I thought about what you said about the celebrity issue. And I was saying to myself, where is she seeing that he wanted to be a celebrity? Where is she getting that? Because I was looking at it, I'm like, well, if he wanted to be a celebrity, he could have did other shit. But when I fully understood that they were writing his speeches, celebrities were writing his speeches, celebrities were backing him in this push against the Vietnam War. Black preachers were closing their churches to him, wouldn't let him come in their churches and preach where he used to was able to have access. Now they're turning back and saying, no, you don't have access now, because now you forgot about our struggle and you're on some other kick. And that kick, the celebrities was definitely behind him, and he got comfortable being in that, because
limelight.
Exactly. It raised your profile, you out there and everybody, because now you're not talking about nigger business. You're talking about white folk business in this world, in this war, which is big business. And you had other celebrities that were in there that wasn't getting that kind of shine, but they use your name and push you out there so you can draw attention, even a greater attention, because you got the Nobel Peace Prize.
That's right. You get the Nobel Peace Prize. You get to speak in Washington before a crowd of thousands. You're getting interviews. You're in magazines. People are taking pictures of you. They want interviews. You're meeting dignitaries. You're very special.
Yep.
And he was loving the attention.
Mm-hmm.
loving it.
Mm-hmm.
Look at some of his poses. Go back tomorrow and look at some of his poses.
Exactly.
It was very much, look at me. Mom,
Mm,
nigga, I made it.
mm, mm, mm,
Yeah.
mm.
But I have a question for you before we move on to the next chapter.
Okay.
Why do you think Barack was chosen to be the Democratic Party leader?
I think he was chosen to be able to put us to sleep, so that whatever the behind the scenes that was more important, that he could go ahead and get done, and there wouldn't be such a outcry from us or those quote unquote friendly, nice white folks, because their man is in office. If you look at some of the things that he has done, um, he's killed more people by drones, which include Americans that he killed by drones. What he did over in Libya, um, even if I don't believe that the Republicans, if they had a Republican in office when they had to do the bailout and all of that, it would have went as smoothly as it did. I think there would have been an even bigger problem and probably more of a right, straight out protest and probably even violent. But because they had their man in the office, it soothes the people to say, hey, let's just chill out and don't do that, but we'll do this because we got our man that's in office now.
Do you think that he also was pushing a gay agenda?
Yeah, it eventually turned that, because when he first got into office, he wasn't with the gay agenda. And then when it
Oh,
was
he
time,
wasn't?
no, he wasn't with that. Then it was time for him to be reelected, and this time his approach changed, and they asked him, "Well, what made you change your position on the homosexual thing?" And he said, "Well, I was having a talk with my wife and my daughters, and they convinced me that I should do it a different way. So, I'm doing it differently this time."
So put it on the black woman.
Exactly.
Well, and you know what? To me, let me ask you a question. Did you ever meet Barack?
No, I never, I met him, but it's not like in a position where me and him sit down and have a conversation. No, it's just like I met, I forget the white dude's name. He was dealing with that too, in the same way with Hillary Clinton. They all came through the Acorn organization to talk to us because we were one of the biggest nonprofits. And besides, since Barack Obama came from there, then they're going to go and try to get in there. So, no, as far as me and him sitting down having a conversation, no. But as far as seeing him and he's saying hi to me and I'm saying hi to him, yes.
Did you get the vibe that he was gay?
No, I didn't get the vibe that he was gay.
Around Chicago, was there a buzz about him being gay?
Yes, there was, especially when that black mother came out and said that her son was in a relationship with Obama, and then next thing
Uh-huh.
you know, that boy was killed.
Execution style. Two men.
Mm-hmm.
Two men were killed execution style, plus the other reports that were coming out about his sexuality. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it was anything to do, even though he said it was his wife and children. It
Mm-hmm.
had probably had to do with tapes that they
Mm-hmm.
had on him, pictures, intel about his, sexual preference that
Mm-hmm.
um, could have been released. So if you don't want us to release this information, you better get with the program.
Exactly.
My next question to you is, would you happen to know his income, like before he became president? Was he rich?
No, he wasn't rich. He didn't get rich until he got elected and wrote those books and stuff and made some money then. But
Mhm.
no, when they were running, they were still paying off their colleges and having a hard time doing that. They
Damn.
wasn't rich. No, they wasn't rich by a long shot.
Damn. So he got his bread and butter through politics,
Exactly.
being president.
Mm-hmm.
It has its perks.
Most definitely.
My goodness.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
my next question before go ahead.
I was just gonna say that politics is a way that you can come in poor, but you'll come out rich, and
Damn.
that's for real. That's real.
So if of all of the people that you can think of right now in the United States of America who, because Elijah Muhammad said in the beginning of the chapter, he said, let me see, he said, like when he talked about if you speak out on behalf of Black people, then they
Mm-hmm.
want to get rid of you, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, of all the people that you can think of in the United States right now who speak out on behalf of Black people, who do you think that white America would assassinate if they could? Like right now, who would be that person
Hmm. Um.
besides you? Because I'm not gonna lie. Sunday, when you took forever to come online, I was scared. I was like, oh, they done got him. Oh shit. Oh dog. I was so fucking scared. I said, Lord, they got him. That's why I sent you the text message. I say, you all right?
Yeah.
So who you think besides you they want to take out for speaking up on behalf of our people?
They want to kill the minister, but then that would cause revolution overnight. But I don't see anybody on the national scene that really speaks out for Black people in such a way that will frighten the government. I don't see anybody on the national scene that has an idea of something that will threaten the government about us. So I don't see it. I believe that we are more dangerous than any of the so-called national leaders at this point. And we're on what I would call the sub-local level. But as we continue to climb, then, it becomes more and more dangerous for us. So that's why everything has to be tight. But I believe we are the next ones to be on that list.
Is it true that the Minister Louis Farrakhan was like poisoned or something like that, or got cancer because of some type of radiation he was exposed to try to assassinate him? Is that true?
It's true. He did get poisoned. He was poisoned in New York. Somebody who was either cooking the meal or somebody who got in there, but that's where he was poisoned at. It was a quote unquote home cooked meal. So whoever in New York that was preparing the food or delivered some part of the food to be cooked up and ingredients somewhere, that's where the poisoning happened. As far as the radiation, yeah, he did have cancer, and they did put all of those seeds, radiated seeds, in him, and they did not expect him to live. But by Allah's grace and mercy, he lived on. So yes, those were two attempts on him.
What was the purpose of the seeds?
The seeds were supposed to eat away the cancer. But it ate away the cancer, but it ate away a lot of his insides. And,
What?
yeah. So he has a colostomy bag right now because of that.
How
Yeah.
long has he had the bag?
Oh boy. Um, since he had the radiation seeds, what was that? Maybe 10 years ago now. Hmm.
I just found out last year he had a bag. I didn't know.
Really?
I honestly did not know because when I see him, he always looks so good and
Mm-hmm.
he's dressed so nicely. He never showed any sign of sickness or weakness or anything to me. You know, like I told you, I hated Minister Louis Farrakhan for many years. I thought he was an agent. I did not like that man. I hated his very voice
Mm-hmm.
until I began to wake up and do thorough research objectively on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I listened to, like I went on an actual marathon with Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's all I listened to for maybe a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And I gained so much respect for him. And not only that, but I love the minister. But I
Mm-hmm.
still did not know that he had this situation until I was just, talking about the minister with one of my coworkers, and he shared that with me, and I was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was shocked because he looks so good and well taken care of, and he's so beautiful, his skin and everything. I had no clue what the minister was going through. I really didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. He if the way I see it, if that man is not backed by God, then I don't know a man who is.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always say that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him that if the God can't save me, then he can't save you. And the
Mm-hmm.
minister taught us, well, that follows down to each and every one of you. And so that speaks to, because people have always asked, some people have always asked, especially when I went to the people who killed Emmett Till and knocked on their goddamn door, you know that you shouldn't have did that, you could have been killed, you could have did da, 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 da. But I believe that I do have the God's protection,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't have no fear of those type of things. I don't have fear of most people that talk like we talk and do the work that we do would never come on no damn video and show your face. That's just would not be done. Not no man
Mm-hmm.
doing that. But I do it and I don't have a problem with it. This is how I started out. So, because I believe that I do have that protection.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes me even more bolder in what I say and what I do. And when we get to power, then we're going to do everything that need to be done. And at that point, if it's the will of God and something like that happens, then I believe it will be revolution. Overnight we'll tear this goddamn country up. I really believe that.
How long do you think white people have been on this planet?
A little over 6,000 years.
Yeah, that's what most people say. And
Mm.
when do you think their time will be up?
Well, their time was up, according to, no, not their time. I believe their time was up probably sometime. Master Farad Muhammad showed up to the messenger July 4th, 1930. So I believe that their time was up then. And I believe this whole process of us being woken up, um, and as the Quran said, that God will respite them until the day that we are raised. And once we are raised to the knowledge of self and to the knowledge of who they are, then it's over for them. And as we can look and see that they're at the zero population growth, um, it's coming true. It's coming true. That's why, you know, the videos that we do, it's just so important to get it done and get it out so that our people can see and understand and wake up, because the quicker that they wake up, the quicker that the enemy goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
All right. So we on chapter 8. The black man of America. You ready?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The black man of America has been privileged by the slave master's children for the last century to vote for whites for the offices to judge and rule. This freedom to vote has made the black man in America feel very dignified and proud of himself. He goes to the polls very happy to vote for a white ruler. Today, he is gradually changing to a desire to vote for his own kind for such offices of authority. We must remember that our vote is strong and powerful only when and where the white man can use it to get in the office over his white opponent. After the election and the victory, there are very few favors that come from his office to the black voters who helped and aided him in getting in the office. Why? Because he does not owe the black voter anything as long as he has to feed, clothe, and shelter him. The black vote could be cast or not cast. The white citizens of the government are going to win and continue to rule anyway. There is much talk of this man and that man who shall the vote of the people put in the White House for the next 4 years. How much good have the two parties, Republican, Democrat, done for us for the last century in the way of freedom, justice, and equality? Regardless of what party wins, the die is always set against us, the black people in America. Injustice, crooked politics, and the breeding of corruption under crooked politics have been practiced ever since Adam to the present day rulers. Adam was the first crook. There has not been justice for the black man in this race of people, and this is why the race suffers from the effect of chaos today. There are black politicians who would like to use their black people for selfish greed and will throw them behind any crook with money. Black politicians of this type have sold their black brothers to suffering and shame for self elevation with the crook. This election is one of the most serious in the history of American government because either party that seeks the office of presidency is faced with the problem of saving the lives of the people of America. If the present party remains in office, that at the time the Democratic Party remains in office, you know the answer. If the Republican Party takes over, you should know the answer. There will be a lull before the storm. The storm can be delayed, and every hour and day that it can be delayed is to your benefit. The black man should be very serious and careful about his voting because 90% of the black votes cast are cast by the ones who do not have the knowledge of what they are casting their vote for. I still say, as I have said for many years, vote for Allah to be your ruler and come follow me.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's the truth. That is the truth. They have no knowledge of what they're really voting for. They
Nope.
have no knowledge whatsoever. And we have to be able to stop. There's no way that I can vote for a white man to be my ruler. It just ain't gonna happen. No white man, no white woman. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. I won't even vote for no black person with a white mind. It's just
Mm-hmm.
not gonna work out. And that's why we say that, any politician that's running that's supposed to be representing us, they should sign a contract where if they sell us out, that gives us the right to kill them.
Ooh.
And then we exercise that right.
Wait a minute. Just sign a death warrant.
Exactly.
Huh?
Exactly. Exactly. Because then you'll know from the jump. If they don't want to sign that paper, then they already knew, then that they had it in their mind. They're gonna sell your ass out soon as you get them in there. Soon as you get them in there. See, the ones that know that they ain't got that, they're not going to sell you out. They'll sign the paper and not even worry about it because they know that they're coming to do good. They're not coming to sell you out. They're
Mm-hmm.
not coming there. They're not coming there to be friends with them. They're not coming there to be their bosom buddies. They're coming there with an agenda to uplift our people, period, point blank. They're coming to a fight. And
Mm-hmm.
they're coming to a fight where they better win, period, point blank. And so, when those who have that understanding of what is expected of them and know that the people will carry it out, you'll see a different type of politician overnight. You ain't got to waste your time with liars because they ain't even going to deal with you because they know the price is too high. See, we've been used for other people purposes for far too long. And this is what the messenger is saying. It's been far too long. And you don't have a person, regardless of skin color, that has ever represented your needs and your wants. The
Mm-hmm.
Democratic Party bullshitted you around. The Republican Party bullshitted you around. So you've been screwed over by both parties. Now it's time for you to realize that you got to have your own damn party and then follow it. You follow it. You stick up for it. You stand up for it. And that's the Black First Political Party. Our aim and our mission is the upliftment of our people. To fuck everybody else. You don't give a damn about them. We care about what's best for ours. That's what we care about. Because we have had people who cared about whites, who cared about the illegals, who cared about all of these other people, but ain't give a damn about us. And it's time now that our agenda, our issues be on the front coast. Our issues get solved in a way that's pleasing to us, that's satisfactory to us, that we get some goddamn sanctuary up in this piece.
Mm-hmm.
It's our time for it now. And so that's why, we embrace the fight into politics because we're going in there and we're coming out with something good for our people. And we don't give a damn what the price, because the price may be death. So if it is, then let's just fucking get it on and get it over with. And so that our people can see, damn, that brother, he gave everything for us. And they gonna do that now. We're gonna tear this motherfucker up. It's like Fannie Lou Hamer said, these young people, they want America just as good for them. And if they gonna get it, and if they can't have it, then you can't have it, and they're gonna tear this country up. Well,
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, we here to make them words bond. Period, point blank. We'll tear this motherfucker up. Just that serious. So, our people need to see and understand. And I believe when they hear us and they feel us and they'll understand, yeah, that's for us. That's for us. And the enemy come this way and do what they normally do, then this country gonna go up in flames. Ain't no ifs, ands, and buts about it. And ain't no Negro gonna come over to try to put the damn fire out, because we'll burn their ass up too.
I remember I was at a festival and everybody at the festival was black. It literally was an all black festival. There was no white people there. Okay. This was in Florida.
Mm.
And out of nowhere, a white older gentleman is walking through the crowd giving out business cards. So I'm just sitting there watching him because I'm like, sir, you out of place. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so, out of all the people that he could have walked up to, eventually he walked up to me to give me his business card to ask me for his vote. He was running to be a judge,
Mm.
and he was drunk.
Mm.
Not only are you out of place, but you over here asking for the black vote. We don't see you no other time,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you so confident that you can get our vote, and you drunk.
Mm. Mm-mm.
How
Mm.
disrespectful!
Exactly. Exactly.
Very disrespectful. And
Mm-hmm.
like Elijah Muhammad said, we must remember that our vote is strong and powerful only when and where the white man can use it to get in office.
Mm. Mm-mm.
That's it.
Mm.
That's when we count.
Exactly.
That's when you want to come in our community and play your saxophone and put on your sunglasses. And then our people so ignorant as to
Say
call.
that.
Remember they were saying he was black.
Exactly.
Bill Clinton,
Exactly.
because you got on some goddamn glasses and you
Mm.
play a goddamn saxophone. We so stupid. He just pandering to our emotions because he
Mm.
cool dap daddy. No, he just wants your vote.
Mm-hmm.
They hated us. Not
Mm-hmm.
hated, they hate us.
That's right.
Did you see the interview with Hillary Clinton and Megan Thee Stallion?
No, I didn't see that one.
Yeah. Hillary and her daughter interviewed Megan. I guess for the Megan followers,
Mm-hmm.
I guess to introduce them to the Clintons.
Mm.
It was creepy to me. Because out of all the people, out of all of the women in the United States that are highly educated, women of
Mm-hmm.
integrity and dignity who cover our bodies, you know,
Mm.
that's
Mm-mm.
who you want to interview?
Mm.
This alcoholic that with this nasty lyrics?
Mm. Mm-mm.
What is it about her that you really want to know?
Right.
Because it's not something that's going to help our people.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm. Mm-mm. That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah, they use us. We have to stop allowing them to come in to feel comfortable coming into our circles.
Exactly.
They should not be comfortable coming into our circles because if we put one pinky toe over their threshold, it's gonna be hell to pay. And
Mm-hmm.
they should not be comfortable in our community.
They shouldn't be.
Chinese should not be comfortable in our community selling Chinese food
Exactly.
and opening up. I passed a nail salon over the weekend. They
Mm-hmm.
had like maybe 10 or 12 Chinese people doing nails, and they had every table was full and a waiting line. And
Mm.
everybody in there that was getting service was black women in a
Wow.
predominantly black community, and they feel comfortable setting up shop in a commercial plaza to cater to black people because they already know we're going to bring business.
Right. Mm. Mm-mm.
That's very comfortable to do that. Everybody can come into our community and set up shop
Mm.
very comfortably, but yet when we open up those businesses, we close within a few weeks or months
Exactly.
because we can't even get our own people to patronize
Mm-hmm.
black business.
Exactly. And you know, you don't even know where the damn Chinese live in your city, but you know that they operating in your neighborhood. But you don't know where they live at.
You
You don't know
don't.
where they go to school at because they don't go to your schools.
They don't send their children to public school. They find ways to have their own. Now, let me tell you, I was passing down an apartment complex recently by last year,
Mm-hmm.
and they had the curtains open to
Mm-hmm.
the sliding glass door leading towards the balcony. So you could see the balcony from the street, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
curtains was open. The damn Chinese had a whole nail salon inside of an apartment. And I'm looking on the goddamn second floor, seeing the apartment full of black women. So
Oh
now
my God.
in a whole goddamn illegal nail salon in an apartment complex. And an apartment complex is full of women, black women who are single.
Mm. Mm-mm.
I know for a fact a large majority of women that live in that apartment complex, they are single on Section 8 and have food stamps.
Mm.
And the goddamn Chinese people or whoever, Philippine, wherever they from, Asian people, rented an apartment, turned it into a goddamn nail salon, and it was full of black women getting
Mm.
services.
Mm-mm. Wow.
We have a lot of, we got problems in our community. I
Mm.
just told a little girl today, she was like, "Oh, look at my nails. Look at my nails." I said, "Who did it?" She was so happy to show me her nails. I said, "Who did your nails?"
Mm.
Some Chinese people. I said, "Why did you go to them?" And I had to explain to her, if you had a business, they would not support your business. They do not spend money with you. So why would you sit down to spend money with someone who would not support you? And she
Mm.
just looked at me. She said, "Well, it was only one time." And I said, "Let it be your last."
Mm-hmm.
Find a black nail-tician and allow him or her, because black men are doing nails too, to provide your services, but do not go back to them ever again in your life. Do not go back to them for anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you see them, turn around. You can't even sell a goddamn Chinese person a pack of M&M. They won't buy it.
Exactly.
They won't buy. They don't buy. They don't buy nothing from us.
Mm-mm.
I wish I could find somebody who would say, you know what, they support my business, because I can't find it.
Mm-mm. Nope.
They don't want nothing that you selling, no services that you provide. Would an Asian patronize black
Mm-mm.
people? Indians do not patronize. Man, these goddamn people from the Middle East and Africa, these, I don't know if it, well, they are some African men in my community who have a beauty supply store, but the men run the beauty supply store, and then you have a lot of Indian people and Asian people, and like the white Middle Eastern people that own beauty supply stores in my community, and it's the men that's running the stores. The women, we don't know where the hell the women at.
Mm.
So you come way from your foreign country here to open up shop in my community and do well.
Mm-hmm.
They do very well. But
Mm-hmm.
when we open a business, like I stated previously, we struggle to keep our doors open.
Mm.
What the hell do we not see as a people?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that we don't understand? Why does our light bulb not come on and say, you know what, this is a problem? You get the fuck out of our neighborhood, because we're not. As a matter of fact, we don't have to say get out. We're just not gonna shop, so you ain't gonna have no choice but to shut down.
Exactly. Exactly.
They come, set up shop, and do well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, when you think about it, like you said, they come from the Middle East, they come from China, they come from all these countries to come find a black neighborhood to set up shop in. They leave the comfortability of their own country to find a black area to set up shop in so that they can make their money. We have to wake up from this foolishness because we're making people rich who don't even like us.
Correct.
Don't even like us. I saw this black man. I met this black man. We talked, and he thought because he shopped at Chinese businesses that the Chinese people were cool.
Hmm.
So he went to try to open up a business in Chinatown
Hmm.
selling ribs. And he was, why I can't get a shop to open up in Chinatown? Because Chinatown don't want you.
They don't want you.
They don't want you. So they already got a criteria that if you're going to open up a business in what is quote unquote Chinatown, you got to be Chinese. And you got to have this, you got to have this, you got to have this. And if you ain't Chinese, you ain't doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't setting it up. And he's talking about how unfair that is. I'm like, bro, look, we're the ones that's being stupid. We let them in our neighborhood with open arms and they sell us their Chinese food, sell us this, sell us cat, dog, whatever the hell you think you may be eating,
Mm-hmm.
and don't even have respect for you as a human being.
And talk about you in their native tongue, knowing that we don't understand.
Exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then sometimes they so slick to put a black face at the register.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I know one Chinese man has a very profitable Chinese restaurant. All of his employees are black.
Mm.
Every last one of his employees, and I believe that a lot of them are illegal immigrants, and
Mm-hmm.
possibly some are teenagers, while others may be women on Section 8. He pick
Mm-hmm.
and choose a struggle because they're very loyal. They've been with him for years, and he's not really paying them a lot of money. But it's enough for them to stay with him for all of these years because I think they know that they're not supposed to be here anyway. But he does very well.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I'm
That's
sick of it.
That's crazy. You know, my aunt had a birthday last year, and they did a family dinner, and went to this restaurant that used to be owned by black folks, but is owned by Chinese people now. But all the cooks are black, all the waitresses and waiters, they're black, but it's owned by Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And
now no black people run the register. Chinese run the register. Ain't no black people on the register.
oh,
But
he
they
let his workers run the register.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
But I mean, it's nothing wrong with working there to learn their recipes and how to make their dishes and go and do your own.
It's not, but they don't even do that.
They don't even do that because Chinese food is. Don't get me wrong. I learned how to make my own chop suey.
Mm,
I sat one day because I love chop suey, but
mm-hmm,
I don't eat Chinese food anymore because it's starting to taste like cardboard and trash, and it has a very foul odor.
mm,
And I was like, damn, I want some chop suey. And I just went online and I tried to find out how they make it and I did my own little spin on it. It
mm-hmm,
was when I say it was so delicious,
mm,
I make my own chop suey now. I make my own fried rice,
mm.
and so we can do it.
Right.
We, like you say, we just not doing it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
Chinese food don't necessarily have to be from Chinese. Damn, just learn how to make the goddamn recipes and open up some shit. Like, oh my god, see this gives me a freaking headache because anything they can do, we can do better.
Exactly.
Because people love to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so many opportunities for us if we, like I told this black guy, he's so faithful to Subway. I said, why don't you open up your own sub shop?
Mm,
Same concept, but
mm.
put your black spin on it. You're gonna make money,
Right.
even
Right.
if you have to go to an airport in a like Atlanta or New York where you have a large majority because people like to eat when they in the airport. You can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that push that a lot of times our people don't have and they don't know how to get started. That's why, like with me, I'm very good with business management and I've
Mm-hmm.
helped a lot of people with their business and I do not charge black. If you black, I don't charge you. Like
Mm.
my godchildren and stuff like that, my neighbors or anybody who's introduced to me or from a friend of a friend, they'll
Mm.
tell, they'll come and they'll be like, this is what I want to do, but I don't know how to get started. So I'll help them with their LLC, their business tax receipts, paying their taxes quarterly, establishing, their website, learning how to design their business cards. I really love helping, especially young black people get off the ground because that's one of the most starting a business is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So when I help them, I never charge them because I just feel like it's my reasonable service. So a lot of times it's easier said than done. And I really think that we have to the what we know, we have to pour that into our children and we have to be willing to help people get started, and come off the ground because starting a bid, like I told my friend girl, she really wants to open up a restaurant. I said, okay, I'll be your waitress. I said, you don't even have to pay me. I'm just going to work for tips
Mm-hmm.
because I know you really can't afford it right now. So I'll come, I'll bring some of my, godchildren who were teenagers in high school and we'll be your waitresses.
Right.
But she still has not done it,
Mm. Mm-mm.
you know?
Mm. Wow.
So we have a lot of different dynamics that we have to consider. Finances, laziness,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot that we're dealing with because we've been so beat down.
Right.
But like you said, we gotta wake up. We gotta wake up. And
Mm-hmm.
look, that leads us to chapter 9. The dead are rising, they seek their own. I love we in sync. That's how you know we in sync with with
Mm-hmm.
Elijah. Because we just segue right into the topic. The dead are rising. So the day, and this is kind of lengthy, so if you want to stop me, go ahead, but it is 8:30.
Okay.
But nevertheless, there's a few pages, but we're going to definitely finish it. So the dead are we, the black once slaves of the white man of America, we are a mentally dead people. We are dead to the knowledge of self and others. The knowledge of self has now come to us from God, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever. Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, is a man. His teachings bring us into reality and not into some kind of spooky or spirit or ghost like teaching. Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, is the all wise and living God. He desires that we see him as he is, a human being and not something beyond the family of human beings, spookisms. We could never ask a formless spirit to lead us because we are not a formless spirit ourselves. Man can only listen to man. Man cannot listen to, I'm sorry, man cannot listen to other than man. And I have proof. We just never were able to obey anything but ourselves. We, the once dead, mentally are coming to the knowledge of life. When we learn this lesson of the living, it will destroy the belief in other than ourselves. Bringing us up in slavery time, putting us to a mental death, was something that the slave master and his children did because of their desire to make us into something that was other than the truth, in order to be able to keep our minds enslaved. From the visit of God in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, the time now has come to us, as it is written, that on the day of judgment, we will see God as he is. That is in the Bible, Revelation chapter 1, verse 7. Wow, he said, damn, let me reread that. From the visit of God in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever, the time now has come to us, as it is written, that on the day of judgment we will see God as he is. The rise of the dead does not by any means mean what you and I were taught when we were little boys and little girls. And even while we are little boys and little girls in man and woman age, we are still pushed on a baby's side for understanding the truth. We, the Black people, are no longer babies. We are babies to no one except God Himself. You are fast learning that you are not babies anymore, but on your rise up from the dead, rise up. I'm sorry. You are fast learning that you are not babies anymore, but on your rise up from the dead knowledge of Black self and others. You are learning fast that Allah is fast creating in us a new way of thinking, for the way in which we had been thinking was in a way of untruth and unseemingly way of understanding. America is a country where evil is dominant, and the people in America think nothing but evil. It is very seldom that you can talk to a person without getting the thought quickly that in their mind is filled with evil. We, the Black people in America, are called the dead spiritually. And we, the Black people in America, now desire to make for ourselves something better than what the slave master's children have made of us. We want to make something better of ourselves than what the slave master's children still do make of us. Look at the many people who used to be stage actors and who are now forsaking the stage as being a mockery to them, and are now former stage actors who want to be seen and conversed with the civilized black with as civilized Black people and not as some kind of stage actor. The white stage actors are with some sense because they are civilized. A meaningless act is not enjoyed by a people who are intelligently learned into the knowledge of civilization. But the poor Black man in America has no knowledge of any civilization. But the white man has gotten into all of the civilized people of the earth, and he knows them and they know him. And this is why now a war between civilizations must take place, because the present ruler, the white race, has deceived the whole entire civilized world with their civilization of deceit. The white race was made for the purpose of making mischief. The white race was made for the purpose of deceit. And now that Almighty God has come to make manifest that which has been hidden of the truth, the white man from under his deceitful blanket, which had the white man covered. As the Bible teaches us, God will pull the covering off of the covered and show the nations his shame. If the white man had not been uncovered by Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises I do forever, I do not see any cover left for the white man's skin. By Allah pulling the cover off of the white race, this makes it possible for us, Black people who were deaf to the knowledge of the truth, to see the natural characteristics of this deadly white enemy of the Black man. Now we can shun our enemy like we do a rattlesnake. When we see the rattlesnake or hear his rattlers sing, we begin to try and seek cover from the rattlesnake if we are not able to kill, for we know his deadly sting. But this snake, which is the white race, has overtaken us, and he has bitten us so many times that we have become so poisoned from his poison getting into our blood from his sting, that it has taken God now to come to prevent the snake from continuing to sting us. And Allah has a cure for our being bitten by the snake. He will separate both of us from being involved with each other, so the snake's poisonous sting will not affect us. The Black man in America has never known anyone but the white race. Therefore, the Black man seeks pacification and mercy from a merciless people. You cannot blame the white man for what he is. You cannot blame him for being merciless. For the white people were made, you cannot blame the white man for what he is. You cannot blame him for being merciless. For the white people were made the people that they are. And the white man has made us, the Black man, other than our own self. At the present time, we are not like we were when we were created in the beginning. In the beginning, we were created right. Then we were deceived by the deceiver, who was made a deceiver by nature. Our Black people are rising up, and we are happy to rise into the knowledge of self and others. The rise of the dead will be like the blast of a trumpet pretty soon. The Black people will become into the knowledge of themselves so fast that it will look like the rise of the dead has taken place at once. I just love to look at my Black people now. All of them are rising, and listening to them talk, you see how much different they are. My Black people must get out of the white man's name, but
Yes.
my Black people must be qualified to enter the real original name of Almighty God Allah. Come to the temple of Islam and learn all about yourself. And after learning all about yourself, you will be able to take those who enslaved you and wrap them around your little finger, and you will not feel them on your little finger until you see them on your little finger and shake them off. Allah loves you, and I love you. We want to build up this world for ourselves, to live in this world in peace and happiness.
Mm, mm, mm. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. You know, that when we think about it and realize how dead we are to the knowledge of self, and that it's true, we don't know nobody but white folk.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we know. You know that they wind up being your first teachers. They shape you into what they want you to be, a serviceable tool for them and their way and their family. That you do everything that you can to service them in the best way, even if it means you're hurting your own self.
Mm-hmm.
Understand, really, to understand the knowledge of self and others, meaning that I know who you are, I know your beginning, and I know your ending, I know your nature. I know, and that's what when people ask, well, why are you this way on whites? Why are you this way? Because I know their nature.
Mm-hmm.
I know their nature, and you're not going to change their nature. It is who they are. It's who they are. Now, you got to be who you are. And they'll bow down to you once you know who you are and then live the life accordingly. It's one thing a brother told me. He says, I don't understand how Minister Farrakhan and y'all can say the white man is the devil. But yet, you'll see Minister Farrakhan take a picture with Eminem, or you'll see Minister Farrakhan take a picture with Bill Clinton, or you'll hear how, what was that cracker's name? I forget his name, but he was over the FBI.
Hoover? Edgar
No,
Hoover?
no, not Hoover. He was over the FBI when George Bush Jr. was the president, and he invited Minister Farrakhan to come to dinner. Hell, even George Bush sent Minister Farrakhan a letter and said, I'm having an event, and I would like you there. And the minister replied, I wouldn't be caught dead at a George Bush event.
Woo!
Yeah. And so even with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Richard Nixon sent him a letter and told him, I want to meet you. Come on out to the White House and, we'll throw a dinner, for you out here. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, I don't come to you. You come to me.
Mm-hmm.
And gave him and sent him his address. And the thing is, we live what we live and we teach what we teach, and we don't change it because they will bow down because they know the truth. They know the truth. Here is the President of the United States sending a letter to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that I want you to come to D.C. so I can honor you. And the messenger replies, no, you can come to my home because I don't come to you. And like he told Minister Farrakhan when he went to go visit Huey Newton, and Huey Newton searched Minister Farrakhan. And the messenger, when the message got back to the messenger, he was angry. He was really angry. And he told the minister, he said, I don't go nowhere. I sit right here from my dining room table and order things for the nation all around the world. He said, I order cows. I tell the man what to look for, and he do what I say. We'll come back with good, healthy cows.
Mm-hmm.
He said, Richard Nixon came and said that he wanted to for me to come to the White House. I told him he can come to my house. He said, I am next to God, and you are next to me, and you go submit yourself to that new agenda, Huey Newton. And he said, brother, you done fell off the log now. And he said, now the brother got to help you to get back up. I am second to God, and you are second to me. You don't go wear your knees out to some new agenda.
Mm-hmm.
And to show that we have not changed, and the enemy is still who they are, but yet they still come and see him and shake his hand. They see him, they want to hug him. Even what that damn cracker name, Billy was a real famous white preacher. Used to go off around America and preaching.
I think I remember who you're talking about.
Oh my God!
Billy Graham?
Billy Graham. There you go. That cracker right there. When Time had the it's Time do a thing where they call the people of the year, and
Yeah.
Farrakhan had made that list, and so the Time called all of the people together, and that when the minister walked in, and Billy Graham saw him, immediately he went straight to the minister and says, I listen to what you're saying, and I just you're teaching 100% right on point. And the minister very gracious. Oh, thank you. Of course he is. Of
Correct.
course he's teaching right on point. The other cracker, what that big minister name? White boy that come on TV. Schuler. I think his name was Robert Schuler. He too. He was at an event that the minister was at. He comes running over there they bow down to the minister. They bow down.
Interesting.
To the minister. They listen to the minister. Word for word, they listen. And now Robert Schuler, that cracker, that's a big time cracker. But yet he bows down and listens to the minister.
Mm-hmm.
They understand and know who he is. They understand and know that he is teaching the absolute truth. And if our people wake up to it and grasp onto it, America is done overnight. They're done overnight. They will walk out of them churches so damn quick, make your head spin. It will be over. It will be over overnight. Overnight. And we just got to wake up to that reality and accept our own and be ourselves. Accept our own and be ourselves. And our people have to realize that it is in white folks' best interest that you stay asleep. It's in their best interest.
Correct.
Because the longer you stay asleep, the longer they get to rule over you. So it's in their best interest to get you hooked on, damn, I got to get me a white woman. That's in their fucking best interest. Because you forget about your own, because now you want to be pleasing. Because you got that devil on your shoulders. You got that devil on your arm. How in the hell you lay down with a beast that got lice in their head?
You ain't lied. You ain't never lied.
Do that. How do you do that? How do you sit down with a wet dog, get them wet, smell like dog? How do you do that?
But you see a snake and you run, but you go lay down with the white woman or the white man. You see a roach and you want to kill it, but you'll go sit next to
That's the truth. That is the truth. And the sooner you wake up and understand it, the better you are. I mean, hell, they got so many videos of white folks talking about how they don't even use wash rags. They don't use washcloths. And laughing because people use washcloths. It's like, really? Wow.
But don't some black people get lice?
I ain't never seen no black person with no lice.
Because I looked that up one time, and I think there are very, very few cases where black people do get lice, but predominantly you're going to find lice among the Europeans and the Asians, definitely, because to me, their hair is fur. It's, we have hair.
Mm-hmm.
We have hair. They have fur. So I don't know, and they still sell lice medication right in these pharmacy. Walmart sells lice medication, CVS, Target. They still getting lice to this damn day.
Yeah.
Fuck is y'all doing that y'all still getting lice in y'all goddamn head? And where the fuck is the lice coming from? It find their ass.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had lice. Nobody in my family has ever had lice. I don't know a black person that's ever had lice, but they
Mm-hmm.
still sell lice medication right now to be flying off the damn shelf.
They sure do.
How in the hell is that possible? You a whole damn call yourself a human being, but you have bugs. I mean, we got germs and shit and bacteria that live off of us, but they got lice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
To the 2025, they still getting lice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
And we got people that don't see them for the animals that they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm.
That's what I was thinking, Willie River said the lice is coming from within. That's what I was just thinking.
Mm.
Is it coming out they damn pores?
Mm-mm-mm.
I was just thinking that, Willie, and look,
Mm.
you just put that in the chat, and I don't really be paying attention to the chat like that. He said it is coming from within. I was like, damn, is it coming out they goddamn pores?
Mm.
It's a possibility.
Mm-mm-mm.
Because where the fuck is it coming from?
Exactly.
With all these regulations that we have.
Mm.
Bleach and Fabuloso and Ajax and sanitation, and they
Mm.
still getting infected with damn lice in 2025.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's
Nasty.
typically among their community.
Mm-hmm.
And Elijah Muhammad said something that was so profound. When we see them, we literally should be running the fuck away from them.
Exactly. Mm-mm-mm.
Remember the Panther children? They taught them that the police was pigs.
Yep.
Did you see that video? The police tried to be polite to the little girl, and she was like, I forgot exactly what she said, but she called him a pig right in his face.
Oh, wow.
A little girl, elementary school age little girl. The police officer was like, "Hello, how are you?" And she was like, "You pig." You never saw that?
No, I never saw that.
Oh yeah, I'll try to have that for you next week. She
Mm.
called that white police officer a pig in his face with the passion of
Mm.
God inside of her. She let him know, you a pig to me. Because to the Panther children, they taught them that police are evil and these people are deadly. They are wicked. They are murderers. And when you see them, you need to understand who they are.
Mm.
You need to be on high alert. And
Mm.
they would paint pictures of them with flies all around their body to show the stinking filth and stench that represented their behavior. Let me tell you something. When I get on this internet, it's no telling what I'm going to find. And I found a very old Panther cartoon book. I don't know where I put it. Because when I was rising into my consciousness, I spent hours upon hours in study and self-research. And I showed somebody that one day and they said, how did you get that? That's not easy to find. And Maurice, I don't know what I did with it, but I've tried to find it again and I can't. It's like they what y'all call it, shadow banned it, or
Mm-hmm.
they took it offline. I wish I could find it in my notes, but I can't.
Mm.
It was eye opening. It was
Mm.
eye opening. If I have some extra time, I'm gonna dig and see if I can find it. But I want to show you something in the last few minutes before we go offline. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that's fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen, and I'm gonna take you into the mind of Mayat. This is the mind of Mayat minute. Okay, so on the screen you see the King family, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the left, that is A.D. King. His name was Alfred King. He was the younger brother of Martin. Okay, there you go. So A.D. is younger than Martin. He's on the left.
Okay.
In the center, you have Martin Luther King Sr., the father. On the right, MLK. And then you to the far right, that's Alberta King. That's his mother.
Mm.
Look at the beautiful smile on the father's face.
Mm.
Isn't that a very proud smile?
Exactly. Yeah.
A proud father. My two beautiful sons.
Mm-hmm.
One is a civil rights leader known all over the world. Nobel Prize winner. He's a pastor. You know, I'm a proud father, right?
Mm.
Now look at this one. It's coming. It's a bad time delay. Let me see.
Mm.
What's taking it so long?
Now we're looking at
There you
what the
go.
head, the head's got the gravestone.
That's right. That is
Mm.
what that's what loving your enemy will get you. Because
Mm.
remember, all three of these family members were assassinated.
Mm.
All three were assassinated. Just like Elijah Muhammad said, when you speak up on behalf of the Negro, what is your fate? Assassination. This
Mm.
is what they do. So here you have a picture that's coming up of A.D. King's house in 1963 in Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh
You know,
my God.
you do you see it on? Because I
Yeah.
don't. Okay, so did you know that his house was bombed in 1963?
No, I didn't know that.
And I want you to pay attention to the timeline because I'm going somewhere with this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was married with children.
Mm.
And this is the 1963 bombing of his house in Alabama because they will send a strong message.
Mm.
Okay. Now, this is 1963. In 1966, that is when Martin Luther King went to have a private meeting with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. What's interesting is the caption on the photo that says, so it says, meeting was held in Muhammad's home. Dr. King told newsmen that he expected to outline the purposes of his current non-violent civil rights movement in Chicago during visit with Muhammad. Okay. Now, hold on.
Mm.
Let me go back a little bit because I don't want to mess this up. They were going to be talking about the slums of Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So, although it was a private conversation, some information was revealed. They were going to be discussing the slums of Chicago. And also, Martin Luther King says the purposes of the current nonviolent civil rights movement. So, the house, his brother's house, is bombed in 1963. He has a meeting with Elijah Muhammad in 1966. And what did Muhammad say? He said, I tried to put fearlessness in him. He admitted that the white man is the devil. He admitted that I was teaching and preaching the truth, but he was fearful. Did we not just read that last week?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Yeah.
in 1968, 2 years later, after having a private conversation with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, trying to put some sense into his head, trying to say, hey, come over here with the Nation of Islam. We will keep you safe. They will not touch you if you come over here. Trust me, it's going to be hell to pay. By 1968, he's dead in Memphis, Tennessee.
Mm.
Did you know that his brother was on the first floor when he
No,
was assassinated?
no, I didn't even know his brother was there. I knew.
AD King was there, and Jesse Jackson, Abernathy, and somebody else was holding him back from getting to the body. His
Mm.
brother was there and saw. Now, he didn't see it, but he was there when he was assassinated. I don't know if he saw it, but he definitely was there. And his hotel room was on the first floor.
Mm.
So so Martin Luther King now in 1968, he's dead. He's assassinated. Okay. His nonviolent approach got him killed violently. 1969, his brother was assassinated in
Mm.
Atlanta, Georgia. And so it says a year and a half after Martin Luther King was cut down by a bullet at the Lorraine Hotel in Memphis, his brother, in a conversation overheard by his daughter, said, they killed my brother. I'm going to find out who did it. Okay. And this was reported in the Seattle Times. The next morning, he was dead,
Mm.
purportedly drowned in the bottom of the family's swimming pool, and many feel the death was suspicious. He never recovered because he felt it was his duty to protect his brother. AD widow Naomi King was quoted as saying, "The family's old stomping grounds are a who's who of old Fourth Ward monuments, Ebenezer Baptist Church, the King Homestead on Auburn Avenue," whatever the hell they're talking about right there. But it says, while AD King's death was never investigated as a murder, some members of his family strongly believe he was killed. Absolutely, he was murdered, Naomi King told the Times. He was an excellent swimmer. There was no water in his lungs. He was in a fetal position. He had a bruised forehead, rings around his neck, and he was in his underwear. He was murdered. Okay.
Mm.
His son called his mother, Naomi, while she was vacationing in Jamaica to tell her, "Hey, dad is dead in the bottom of the pool." And based upon what they discovered is that they killed him first and then threw him in the pool.
Mm.
So what am I saying? 1963, AD house is bombed. By 1966, Martin Luther King is having a private meeting with Elijah Muhammad. Fear and his desire to be a celebrity will not let him embrace or accept the truth. By 1968, Martin Luther King is dead. By 1969, his brother is dead. By 1974, the picture is going to change. By 1974, his mother is assassinated in the same church where the father and Martin Luther King Jr. were pastors. Did you know that a lot of people who went to that church were not regulars?
No, I didn't know that.
They were there as observers. You know, Black people like to flock to the it and be in it. You know how a lot of people go to used to go to Eddie Long Church and TD Jakes Church. You see, like they'll showcase and highlight the celebrities that are in attendance on Sunday.
Right.
Well, at Ebenezer, a lot of the people who would come, they were just visitors there, you know, just to be a part of the it crowd. And they did not know these people. And one of the daughters, she was like, "Somebody gonna get killed one day because we don't know these people." So why is that important? Because how in the hell you in the thick of things, you have crosses burning in your yard, your house is being burned, you getting stabbed, going to jail, people beating your ass, you're seeing people getting lynched and bombs in churches and stuff, and you're not even checking people when they come into your church. When you come into the Nation of Islam, you're gonna stop and get a thorough search.
That's right.
You're not getting into that church. They're going in your purse. They're going in your pockets. They're going to go, but they're going to search you down to make sure that you're not a threat. And if you look like one, you're not getting in. But they let any and everybody into the church. Watch this. This Marcus Shanat that I told you about last week, who shot and killed Alberta King, not only did he shoot her in the head, but when he shot her in the head, smoke was steaming from her head.
Oh my God.
Can you imagine to be shot to the extent that steam is coming from your... Now, this woman was 69 years old. Alberta King was 69 years old when she was assassinated. And when he shot her, steam is coming from her head. He continues to approach her when she falls back from playing the organ and shoots her close to her spine. He killed her like a dog. One of the sons, his name is Derek, he pounces on Shanat and begins to beat him up, but they pulled him off and he stopped him from beating him up and killing him because he wanted to kill him, but they would not allow a king's son to kill the murderer of their grandmother. And this is what they got. This is what they got for their soul force, nonviolent approach to dealing with white supremacy. It's coming on the screen in a second. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, we see it.
That's what you get. This is when Martin Luther King was assassinated. You get tears. I mean, if you really believe in him, why are you crying?
Right.
If you really believe in a nonviolent approach, why are you weeping over the death of your loved one when you know it's a reality? Because they had a choice to fight, to join a nation of people who would have their back and protect them against murder and destruction. Now look at the dad. Look at the father. It's coming up.
Yeah, we looking at it.
That's embarrassing. I don't care who got a problem with it. Maurice, when people decide that they don't want to fight, this is an embarrassment to Black men all over the world. And this is why Marcus should not kill the mother. He said, and so watch this. When Marcus killed Alberta King, they allowed Martin Luther King Sr., they allowed Martin Luther King's father to approach the murderer of his wife. He approaches Marcus and he says, "Why did you kill my wife?" And Marcus says, "I was really trying to kill you." But she was closest. And you know what Martin Luther King Jr.'s father's response was?
What?
"I'm going to pray for you."
Lord have mercy.
I'm going to pray for you. And that is why Marcus said, he told the father, she was an enemy. And he's like, "What you talking about, enemy?" He said, "Christians, you all are my enemies. You're leading us down a path to destruction. You are part of the problem while we are getting slaughtered with your non-violent approach to these rattlesnakes." This what you get. So this is the I call this the face down ass up picture. And I want to show you, because we saw that last week. So this is the face down ass up photo. And then here I want to show you. Have you ever seen this picture right here? It's coming.
No, I've never seen that one either. Who was that?
This is Alex Wilson. So you know about the Little Rock Nine, right?
Where they was trying to integrate a school? Is that?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
So this is the actual day when Elizabeth Eckford tried to enter into Little Rock Central Senior High School. And as you can see, Alex, he was trying, you don't see his camera in this photo, but he was a cameraman trying to take pictures because it was such a historical moment. Remember, Brown versus Board of Education, they ruled separate but equal is unconstitutional in 1954. No Black children were trying to enter into school 3 years later. They were too afraid. So 1957, when Daisy Bates finally got 9 children, 9 families to enter into a white school, this is what you see in the background. A white mob was present, and they were you see this man kung fu, this Black man?
Exactly. Wow.
And that's what Elijah Muhammad said at the opening of this study tonight. They ain't gonna steal on you if they know you gonna fight back.
Exactly.
He should not have been out there by himself. What the fuck was he thinking?
Exactly.
What is it about us that we look? He should not have been out there by himself. And Elizabeth ended up out there by herself too, because she didn't have a telephone, and they were screaming, "Lynch her, cussing her, spitting on her." But if you see the man in the background, he in the he like he a boxer or something. Do you see the white man directly behind him?
Yep.
Let me tell you something. That cracker know how to box. I know that stand in that position. He ready. And this other one here, look at him jumping on like he's some kind of damn pony at a dog and pony show. This is what they were doing to us. This is what we had to go through. And that's in 1957. That was damn near what? 9 years before Elijah Muhammad say, Malcolm, Martin, come on, let's talk. Come to my house, let's talk.
Exactly.
Because what you doing, you gonna get a lot of people killed with this foolishness.
Mm, mm,
How the hell you want to think that nonviolence is going to help our struggle, and these people are killing us violently?
mm.
Have you ever seen these people? Have you ever heard of Harry and Harriet Moore?
No.
I don't see him on my screen. I don't know why. I'm looking on my cell phone. Tell me when you see this beautiful black couple.
Yeah, we're looking at them.
Okay, so that's Harriet and Harry Moore. They lived in Mims, Florida.
Mhm.
And this is a picture of, they were civil rights activists who was very influential in the NAACP. They were responsible for registering, I think, over 100,000 people to vote.
Oh, wow.
They got over 100,000 people to vote at a time when it was very unsafe for Black people to vote, not only in the state, but in the country. And the white supremacists listen to this, they put a bomb under their house.
Oh,
Under the bedroom of their house, they put a bomb.
mm, mm.
And what he was speaking out was for, among other things, for teachers to receive higher pay.
Right,
Because we have the same certification, we're college educated, we're doing the same job. Why are we getting paid less?
right.
So he was fighting for equal pay. And these white supremacists were so upset that he's opening new branches of the NAACP and daring to have a voice to speak on behalf of Black people. And therefore, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when you speak on our behalf, you subject yourself to assassination. And he died on his way to the hospital. She lingered on for 9 days and she died. And they had children.
Oh, my
And
God.
this was in 1951. And last but not least, it takes me to this picture. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to put on my seatbelt. Let me know when you see it.
Yeah, we're looking at it.
So this is Viola Luiso, and she was assassinated by the KKK in 1965.
Mm,
As you can see, she's a white woman. She was very active in the civil rights voting protests in Selma, Alabama. She was out boots on the ground,
mm,
marching on the pavement, protesting on behalf of the civil rights of Black people in the United States of America. She they shot her in the head.
mm,
Literally, the KKK shot at her while she's in her car, shot her in the head. She died, and you can see her blood splattered on her car, right?
mm.
So my question to you is, does she get any points, or does she get any honorable or favorable mention?
No, she don't.
Do tell.
Mm-mm. No, she don't. She look, and it goes the same for the other two crackers that died with the brother in Mississippi. They don't get no bonus points because they're still of the people who murdered and killed our people. You don't get no service points for that. And truthfully speaking, you were only trying to trick them into integration, which doesn't work for our people. If you wanted to be somebody that was spoken highly of, then deal with the separation to keep us separate. But no, we can't give you no honor. We can't give you no woo woo woo. No, that's just it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work that way. You got what you got because that's what you earned. That's what you earned. It is what it is. It is what it is. I don't feel no sadness. I don't feel no sorry. She's a dead cracker just like the rest of them.
Oh, Lord.
She got what she earned.
And she put herself out there knowing what would happen.
Mm-hmm.
She put
Yeah.
herself out there, and that shows you they don't even have no mercy on their own.
Mm-mm.
You know, they have no mercy. If it's to help a black person, they will even kill their own
Exactly.
to stay in their position of power. These people are ruthless and diabolical.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
And that brings us to a close tonight. So you can go ahead and close us out.
Definitely. Well, we want to thank everybody that came out and stayed with us. We done almost hit the 3 hour mark. This is the longest that we've gone on here. We normally go 2 hours, but we're almost at the 3 hour mark. So we definitely thank everybody for joining us. We want to welcome Brother Emil to the program, Brother Willie Rivers to the program, Patron Gold to the program. We thank y'all for coming out. We want to thank, I know I saw Adrian to the program. Peace and blessings.
Earth Angel.
Earth Angel 1105 Remix. Welcome to the program. Peace and blessings. Magneso TV. Welcome to the program. Peace and blessings. We thank all of y'all for coming out and hanging with us for these 3 hours as we get this information out and over to you all. And next week, when we come back, we'll be on chapter 10, the resurrection of our people. Is this a one chapter, or are we going to be doing multiple chapters?
I haven't looked into it yet. I have to see.
Okay. Perfect.
If they're small, we'll just, add
Mm-hmm.
to it. So, because we got to go through so many. But I do want to give a shout out to MOA. Boy, we going in. Oh my God. Oh, I listen to his broadcast. And I agree with everything that he says, and I feel his frustration and I feel his pain. And it has a lot to do with being a person who speaks the truth.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
That's not an easy walk.
No, it ain't. And he chose that path. And most people would back down when you got to go against your own family. And he didn't. He stays the course, and he doesn't retreat. He stays the course, and that's a very honorable thing.
Mm-hmm.
A very honorable thing. So, I definitely hold him in very, very high regard and much love.
Mm-hmm.
Much love. He does what he do, and he does it proud.
And be unapologetic about it.
Exactly. I wish more of our people had that same spirit that Brother Emil has. I really do. All right. Is there anything else you would like to say, Queen?
No, I'll see y'all next week.
So we thank everybody again for joining us and, for this 3 hour journey, but it ain't over. We still got more chapters to go. So join us next Tuesday. We will be here same time, either 6 or 6:30, but we will be here back with another chapter. And as we always say, you kill the nigger in you, I'm going to kill the nigger in me, and our God will reign supreme. We are Black first, today, tomorrow, and forever. Thank you, family. Peace and blessings. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Love y'all. So you better get the message and get it straight.
You're going to need some bridge work. It's simple as that.
Because we're living in judgment. We're living in implementation.